right, you guys, podcast time.
Chew. It's quieter.
Fucking podcasting right now.
Chew quieter.
And now, to the podcast studio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chew Quieter. And today, our special guest, she is Bailey Campbell. Bailey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks
No
for coming,
problem.
Bae.
Thanks, Armando, for getting this all set up. And I mean, Bailey, I've heard that you've known Armando for a very, very long time, and I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, we go way back.
Yeah, he's told me stories about, and which I didn't really know, but he's told me that he's known you since you were a child.
Yeah, since I
like,
was pretty little.
You're like 13. I think you were 13 when I first met you. And then I think we got Molly and you were just 14.
Yeah. It was I think that was my 8th grade year of junior high is when you guys got Molly.
When we came and got Molly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Bailey and one of her friends rescued a litter of dogs from under a porch in a house on the way home from school or something. Yeah. And they rescued the dogs and then had this dog, and I think Bailey was trying to be cute and take it home, and Dad was like, "You're not bringing that damn dog in the house." And so she got shut down, and they were on the mad hunt. I think Tammy had listed that there was a dog for adoption, and we had just got a chocolate lab, and we were thinking about adding a second dog. So we went and met Molly, and Molly fit in my hand. She was the cutest little puppy in the world. And we went and hung out, and the girls met her and fell in love with her. And I was like, all right, she came home with us. So
Yeah,
we had her for 12.
So cute.
Yeah, she was so cute. She was a good dog. We had her 12 years, and then she passed about 2 years ago, about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
That sucks.
Yeah,
It's
sucks,
hard when a family dog passes. That's happened to me before. It's just, you don't expect it to hit you so hard.
And it does every time. It just, we've had 3 in like 15 years. I had a Weimaraner that was 12 years old that got sick suddenly, and we had to put him down. Then we had the chocolate lab, and then we had Molly. And then we recently had a cat. I'm like, can we stop? And we got 2 new puppies. I'm like, oh shit, it's happening again. Reset.
So it's obvious from trying to rescue puppies, Bailey, that you have a big heart.
I have a rotten side too, and I think I'm learning that my daughter is taking on quite nicely. I have a 3-year-old. Her name is Emery, and my mom says she's a mini me for sure.
So have you always grown up in Gilbert, Arizona?
Yep, born and raised. Yep, and
So
I'll never leave Arizona. I absolutely love it.
So for those that aren't familiar with Gilbert, where exactly is it, and can you describe it to everyone?
Yeah, so Gilbert's just southeast of Phoenix, and I can't even tell you how old Gilbert is. I have no idea. But it was a farm town, and my mom always describes it to me as cotton fields and cornfields, literally taking up every intersection, every area you can imagine. And now it's completely filled with houses, and it still has small downtown Gilbert, which is a great place. It has great restaurants and little stores and whatnot, but it's just a great place, and I don't think I'd ever take my daughter out of it either. She absolutely loves it, and Brian, my husband, as well, he thinks it's a great place.
Was he also raised there?
No, he's Northern California, so he is from the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a big move when you guys moved out here for him. He come out here and shack up in Arizona. That's a big move for Brian.
Yeah, I think he was happy to move because I sure as heck wasn't going to California. I do feel bad his mom still lives there, his brother, and grandma and dad and all that. But, they come and constantly visit. We're always over there. So it works out.
It seems like that's a natural progression for a lot of Californians to eventually just start heading east. I grew up in Southern California, and then I moved to Colorado. and was there for 20 years. And then 4 years ago, I moved to Tennessee. So I just kept picking up and moving. And Tennessee is my home now. This is probably where I'm going to die.
You like it there? Like, are you used to the humidity?
So there's a love-hate with it. There are some days where the humidity is just like suffocating. But then there's days where it's hot and the humidity is decent, and then you have that wind or breeze, and you're sweaty just enough where it cools you down. So, I right now I'm tolerating it. It's been really rainy lately, but apparently I brought a lot of cold and snow when I moved here. It has never been so cold and snowy before me moving here, and people are joking around saying that I brought it from Colorado. So to all my Tennessee friends, I am very, very sorry.
Hi, Emery.
Can you say hi?
Hi. And she's 3 years old?
Oh, thank you. Yep, she just turned 3 at the end of February. So it went by so fast.
How do you have a 3-year-old kid? It's hard for me to fathom this. So like we talked about the history. Like Bailey, your first race, you were 15, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first dirt riot race, I was 15.
First dirt riot race at Area BFE.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And she buckled in the, and I was there, and it wasn't the outcome that you wanted, but you shook off the jitters, and you were so nervous to get in that car. You could tell the nerves, and then you ended up rolling the that day, and race was over, and the dejection in your face and the sadness that you had was like that memory that I always remember from you. And that's like the Bailey of the original Bailey. But then to see the race career and you become the racer that you are has been an incredible ride for me to watch and to be a witness of, and to continue to just watch and enjoy. And I thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's funny because Moab is probably one of my favorite places to race, even the circumstances of that day.
yeah, but you got your roll over with, so
yeah, right? Yes, done and over with. I haven't had very many since then, except for one that was pretty bad, and other than that, it's been smooth sailing.
Right. So yeah, we get it over early when it doesn't really matter so much, and then we move on. So.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started wheeling recreationally?
I want to say I was about 8 years old when I could barely reach the pedals on my dad's lap. So in every single one of his rock crawlers. Really?
And you didn't roll any of those?
No, I did not. I laid over his unlimited buggy in my second rock crawling event, but other than that, that was pretty much it.
So what was the progression like, getting in from recreation to racing? Was it gradual, or was it just one day, you know what, Dad, I think I want to race?
Yeah, it's actually, there was kind of a blank area. I know we had our weekend wheeling trips and stuff with the whole family and friends. And then I got into high school, and I didn't really want anything to do with it. I loved going and watching, supporting my dad and my brother and my uncle and all that. But I didn't have any interest. I got into photography and my own like girlish things, and I focused on that for a while. And finally, my brother started doing really well. And I saw the bond between him and my dad and my brother at the shop, that they were always working together, always working on the cars. And I kind of wanted to get involved. And finally, he turned his fishing rig, my solid axle car, into my race car. So then I finally got to race that in my very first Ultra 4 race. I want to say in 2014. And then actually at that race, I qualified for the first time for King of the Hammers. So that was a big deal. So there's there's a big blank spot. Like I loved the weekend wheeling and then kind of faded away for a little bit. And then I came back and started working in the shop and learning everything. My dad wasn't going to let me race for free. You know, I had to get my hands dirty and learn how to do everything myself.
How much
And you
influence did
definitely do
Jesse Combs have on you?
Say that again?
How much influence did Jesse Combs have on you?
You know, I didn't really get to know Jessie that well. Her and Terry Madden, who was my co-driver for a few years, they were together, and that's how I got to know her. Maybe for a year before she passed away. So I got to see her fun side. You know, we did a lot of things together at the races when she was with Terry, and but she was a beautiful person. You know, I wish I would have got to know more of her abilities of all the different things that she liked to work on, because she was so good at so many different things, you know, not just in motorsports, but like her leather working and, you know, just talking to people. And, you know, I really wish I would have got to know her better.
Yeah. So you said you had to get in the garage. At what point did you start learning how to turn wrenches?
I want to say I was probably about 13 when I finally started learning how to work on the cars. So.
Do you remember your first big obstacle in the garage?
Oh, no, that's a hard one. You know, I struggled with the measuring tape. I'm not gonna lie. That was probably all the hardest. But no, my dad was a pretty good teacher, and my grandpas were always down there. So they were constantly teaching me how to do things the right way. I never came to a stop like, I'm just gonna shy away and not do this project. They were always kind of over my shoulder, like, no, do it this way, you know, cut the metal this way, use the tool this way. They always taught me the right path. So it was never a struggle in there. I was never afraid to really do anything.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe Armando needs to go work in the shop so he can learn how to build his Scout.
Oh, I know how. I just need time. I've already built it most of the way, taken it back all apart and switched components again, and now it just needs to go back together. I just need time.
So there is time. It's just, are you utilizing it correctly?
Oh.
Jeez. Fuck
we got him. No, I'm sure it's tough because you do have a job and you do have kids and you are a husband, and just like you, Bailey, you're a wife and a mother. So you're also running a garage, and I don't know how you're doing it. I mean, I had a mom that was a single mom with no support, and she couldn't do what you're doing. I know that for a fact. I don't know how you're doing it. So what's it like?
I think my biggest thing is my family is huge. My mom's side and my dad's side are amazing support systems. My grandma watches my daughter during the weekdays, and then sometimes she goes to daycare like today and on Tuesday, and I couldn't do it without them. Honestly, if I didn't have somebody to help me watch Emery throughout the day, I probably wouldn't get anything done. Even though she loves coming down to the shop with me, she always wants to help. So it gets a little difficult. And then Brian, you know, he's always by my side. He's always helping me. He's retired, so he's pretty much with me every day at the shop. So
it's a family gig.
Yes,
everyone's
definitely.
turning wrenches. Everyone's taking turns babysitting, watching the kid.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of taking turns cooking dinner and all that stuff too, right?
No. Absolutely not.
Absolutely no way. No way.
Brian will cook a steak every now and then, but the man doesn't cook. I love him, but he doesn't cook.
It's hard for a guy to mess up a steak. It's either well done or just not done enough.
I have no complaints about the steak.
How far out east have you raced?
I want to say Pennsylvania is probably the farthest I've gone.
And how far east have you recreationally wheeled?
Never. I've honestly only recreationally wheeled in Moab and Arizona.
Okay.
So it's all been competition anywhere else.
Do you still have time to wheel recreationally?
We do sometimes. We have a 48 Willys that Brian and I take out sometimes on the weekends, and that's kind of the only thing we have to wheel right now. We're currently trying to figure out what we want to build next to fit the whole family in it, so that we can go out to different places.
Or Armando has a Scout that he's building that he might be able to
Shut up. No, they have Grandpa's FJ that they took to Moab.
Yeah, we do have that.
That is a gorgeous rig that if you've never seen it, look it up and see the build on that thing. It is ridiculous. But
it's
like everything,
too pretty though. It's too pretty now to take anywhere in Arizona. I don't want to scratch it.
Yeah, you need to just do a wrap on it so it can get wheeled here and there, and that's it. But anything that comes out of that garage is just top notch. It's beautiful. There's what else? What is the other one that popped out of there? Your first
The solid axle car?
Your solid axle car was ridiculous build for being a recreational type fishing rig for you guys to have around all the cars. I mean, you look at the cars. You got Waylon's car. You have the history of the cars. Brian's car, your car. Your car is a 2-seater. Waylon's is a single-seater. Brian's is a single-seater. And then your dad's old car is a single-seater. And then the other one that's here, who's the guy in Queen Creek that owns your dad's old car?
Oh, Matt McCowan.
Matt. Yeah, Matt has the other old car. I think Nick's old car is floating around here in Queen Creek somewhere.
It is.
So
a guy, his name's Brad. I see it on the back of like this big military truck every now and then, and that's when he hauls it out to go to the trails.
Yeah, he's got a 5-ton military truck that he bought. He bobbed and put a flat bed on. He lives out by me. He lives out here in this area. So I mean, just all the cars. And we're not even going back to like moon buggies and wreck wheelers that have been built in that shop for the past 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. So, lot of good stuff coming out of that shop, and for you to take it over and do what you're doing, and I know the family vibe in there is great. It's great to pull in that driveway, and it's like I just get giddy in there.
I imagine it's almost like watching a Fast and Furious movie where they're having barbecue and there's just wrenching going on or something.
It's just like that a lot. Yeah. You know, my dad and my uncle constantly have friends down there every day, and it's like, I don't want to say it's a party, but it's like a party. You know, it's more entertainment and more fun to work on things when you have people hanging out with you. You know.
You think the Gomez family is a lot like your family?
Oh, definitely. I don't know what their shop, like working in the shop dynamic is, but like big families, that kind of thing, definitely.
I hear they're pretty crazy.
Yes.
They're a great group to be around.
That's a fiesta all the time.
Yes.
What's your favorite trail system that you've experienced in Arizona?
Like as far as the areas to go wheeling?
Right.
God, I don't. It's been so long since I've got to go like real rock crawling, trail wheeling. But I want to say out towards like the Mammoth area, which is I don't even know how to explain without a map. Maybe Armando can help me.
Mammoth, California, or is that a place?
No, Mammoth, Arizona.
Oh,
Mammoth,
okay.
Arizona. Yeah, so you're southeast, right?
Yeah, so it's I think it's closer to Tucson.
Yeah, so
area.
you're southeast out that way
Yeah.
towards that area. So you're getting to more of the big surface boulder type rocks.
Yeah.
More rock crawling, less jaggedy. So like here, Florence Junction in the Florence area, we have a lot more of the solid rock, more granite, more pokey rocks. And then you get down there and you get into the areas where you're more smooth rocks that it's a little prettier.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
yeah,
less
I'd say
canyon.
that's no, there's some pretty good canyons out there too.
Yeah,
But I'd say that's
there's-
probably my favorite area. And then if we're taking like the Willies anywhere, towards Crown King area, which is near Wickenburg, a little bit more north of here.
Yeah, so you're,
Okay.
you're northwest of Phoenix, just above like the north end of Phoenix, New River area. You head out towards so between Phoenix and Prescott is where you kind of head out towards get into up to the front side to Crown King, and then if you go on the back side of Lake Pleasant, you can do the back road into Crown King, which is kind of the regulated off-road trail.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you done anything in California?
No, not that I remember. I mean, we've gone out to Johnson Valley for like Thanksgiving and got to do some wheeling there. But that was mostly for testing our cars, shop tuning and getting that stuff ready before King of the Hammers. But that's something made me realize I need to get out of Arizona a little bit and go wheeling somewhere else.
The Rubicon Trail would be a great family trip.
It would. I have done the Jeepers Jamboree.
Okay.
Brian took me on my very first one a few years ago. And I've always wanted to do the family event at the end of July for that one. That place is beautiful.
Yeah, the Rubicon is awesome. If you've just seen pictures of the Rubicon, for anyone listening, it's just gorgeous. And then if you've wheeled the Rubicon, I'm sure you would love Fordyce. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, that is one place. That's like Brian's backyard when he was growing up. He was there almost every weekend, and he still has yet to take me there. So.
Yeah. So my last time on Fordyce, I had a bear encounter. I was the only person sleeping in a hammock, and someone had left their cooking stovetop uncleaned and just left it out. And in the middle of the night, I hear clinking, and it's a bear just licking the spatula against the stove. And I was like, "Oh shit, what is that?" And I was sleeping with my flashlight, and I just shined it over, and I see these two eyes, just red glowing eyes, just looking back at me. I was like, "Oh shit!" And I just started screaming, "Bear, bear, go away, bear!"
And the bear screams back, "Burrito, I'm eating you."
That was my lesson that a hammock is probably not the best idea when you're camping amongst mountain lions, bears, and everything else out there.
Yeah, that's one thing I probably would never want to encounter camping. No, thank you.
Yeah. And then we also saw them, or I don't want to say we encountered them. They encountered us on the Rubicon Trail. On the Rubicon Trail, they're much. They're probably looking for food because they're probably used to people feeding them. So they're a lot more tame, is my guess, along that area. But still, not a pleasant thing you want to come across, just because you never know.
Yeah.
So I want to get into some questions about racing. Mostly, my biggest question is, and I don't know if you can see it behind me, I have a race simulator. And
okay, yeah, I see it.
I love F1 racing, GT, that sort of thing. Do you think that there is any sort of benefit if there was a simulator for Ultra 4? Do you think there would be any benefit for any drivers to have that type of sim?
I think so. There's many areas for us where we could go test our cars, but it's not like it really makes sense to go test them. Like the closest place to test our cars would be Johnson Valley to get any real thing out of it for the shock tuning, the rock trails, just to get your seat time in. I think a sim would be very beneficial if they could make it properly adjusted to what our cars are capable of doing. I don't know if the sim you're using, the seat is like movable to whatever motion the car is making on the track. But to me, that is probably a really important thing, especially when you're in the rocks and whatnot, because I like the feel of this, or what's the saying? The feeling of the seat of your pants or whatever. I'm not sure what the real thing is. But that's really important to me in the rocks, especially with our cars. So I think a sim would be really awesome for our sport.
It wouldn't be cheap.
No.
There's a lot of dynamics that go into creating a sim like that. For one, the one that I have only cost me, a couple $1,000s, and it doesn't move. It's
Okay.
stationary. My seat or my steering wheel will vibrate and telling me that, there's feedback. Hey, you're driving on the curb, or, that sort of thing. But what you're looking for is actual real life feedback.
Yeah. For me, at least for me, that's
corners.
what would make it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, four corners on the seat, give you some G-force from the side, make you feel like you're getting that side bend, getting a bump, and knowing that you hit the bump. So the track feel. So when you're doing the shock tuning, it's the seat feel is what you're going for.
Yeah.
It's the shock tuning guys watching the car go across the desert, but you're feeling what the seat feels like and how you're actually reacting to the seat. Is it bouncing me around? Am I able to hold the steering wheel steady during this? Am I able to turn when I need to turn, or am I just getting beat the fuck out with the bumps? And that's kind of what you want to have in the sim.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it would also benefit maybe some tire feedback too, right?
Yeah, I guess a little bit, especially for the rock crawling side of it.
Mm-hmm. So in the desert, it's not really, you're not too concerned about tires in the desert. It's more on the rocks.
Yeah. Majorly, if we're talking just King of the Hammers, I don't think the tire part of it would really matter in the desert per se, because there's so many rock trails that are really important throughout that race that you want to get through. So I think the simulator, picking up the tires and whatnot, that would be neat in the rocks.
So if you're racing somewhere like Glen Helen, then tires are not really a big concern for that weekend?
I don't have much experience in the short course side of it, so I would actually love to put my car on a track like that and then even start like grooving the tires and seeing what a big difference it would make, because I haven't really learned that side of things. My dad and my brother got to race the Pro Light and the whole Lucas Oil series, and he got to figure all that stuff out where I was still young and not interested. So I missed that whole side.
Is that something that you might want to do?
Oh yeah, definitely. Short course is a big thing in the Ultra 4, and honestly, it's my least favorite races in the Ultra 4 series. I prefer desert and all the rocks.
Yeah, because you have raced Glen Helen before in the solid axle car, and I have a picture of you. I brought the girls out and my nephew. We just happened to be in California a weekend that they were racing. We went up to the race and she raced at Glen Helen.
Yeah.
And I think Hammers were there, and a few other. I think Andrew might have been there. A few other local Arizona racers. So way back when all of the they still do, I believe. I still believe Hammer still races. Hammer raced King of the Hammers. Andrew raced King of the Hammers this year.
Yep.
You guys all raced King of the Hammers this year. So you still get a good portion of the Arizona guys that are the old school racers that have been in Hammers for a long time. I think the only one is Todd Todd doesn't race anymore because he had a rollover and had some health issues and had to stop racing. So he had some, I believe, vertebrae that broke or had to be fused, and the doctor was like, you need to stop racing. So he sold his car. And so I think of the Arizona guys that were shop owners or racers out here, I think most of them are still racing out here from that time.
That's really old school.
So old school. It's not even old school either.
No, you're right.
It's new old school.
Yeah. How much longer, Bailey, do you think until you're old school?
Hopefully never.
The day Emery starts racing is when you can become old school.
Y'all probably feel it then. Yeah.
You'll start feeling it then. Be like, oh man, I can't even race anymore because now I gotta like be there. Well, I mean, how much did your dad sacrifice for you and Waylon to when you first started racing? He would come up and drop parts and lose time and whatever to make sure you guys were getting supported and doing what you guys needed to do to make you guys thrive in the sport. And that's that part of the family that just always gets me. Like, don't even care. Like, nope, I just got to make sure the kids are going good and the kids are happening and the team always put that together.
Yeah, my dad was, he definitely made the sacrifices to get us to the finish line. I'll say that. He's probably been one of my biggest supporters throughout this whole thing. And, I wouldn't change it for the world. He's pretty cool guy.
And you have an accolade of being the first female to finish a 4,400 race. Is that right?
There was actually a few females before me. So, Nicole Johnson, Cotton Rod. I believe there was one more, but they all finished, or I believe just competed in King of the Hammers. And I think before that it was mostly XRA. But right now, me and Jesse were the only ones in the 4,400 after that for King of the Hammers. Yeah.
Maybe is it the placement? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Is it the placement that the top 10 or what?
I was the only one to finish top 5.
Top 5. Okay.
Top five is it? Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
I was for anyone just to finish top 5 is a big deal. But and how old were you at the time?
19.
Come on. Stop.
Yeah. That was a pretty exciting year.
Was Terry in the car with you back then?
Yeah, Terry was with me for that one.
Terry was with you. You hadn't switched to Miller yet.
So Miller was always first, and then I think Miller couldn't make one of my races. I want to say it was nationals. I can't really remember. And then Terry got in, and then Miller kind of became my crew chief. And Terry raced with me for a few more years, and then Miller actually got back in.
How important is the dynamic with the co-driver?
I think it's very important, especially I don't really play the girl card, but with a female, you gotta. I'm not high maintenance, I would say. You guys can ask Miller and Terry yourself, but I don't think I am. But I think them being able to support you and what you're feeling in the car is a huge deal.
The biggest thing is not that you're a female; it's reacting to your personality and your drive.
Well, that too, absolutely.
And that's the thing where your co-driver can be a huge detriment or a huge positive influence on you. And I've definitely seen a big shift on you. Your driving calms down. You calm down when Miller's in the car.
I do.
And Ryan's done a great job of making sure that he understands and he fulfills everything he needs for you to be in that car. I see you drive, and there used to be on the edge because you want to go more. And then I know Ryan's calming you down, going, "You got this. Just let's get to the finish line. And that changes everything. It's the dynamic of the personality is what he's catered to. Has nothing to do with your gender.
No. But, Miller, he's only ever gotten frustrated with me one time in the car, and that was King of the Hammers 2 years ago. And we had lost reverse in the car, and we were on our way out. It was first gear was on its way out. And we were trying to make it through King's Graveyard, and I put the car in the wrong spot over a rock, and I couldn't move. So he was trying to winch me backwards, winch me forward. It was a nightmare, and I felt so bad. All I could do was laugh because I'd never seen him get so frustrated. He's usually the most mellow person in the car, and that's what I absolutely love about him. He just goes with the flow of everything and reacts so calmly, and he's an awesome co-driver.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
You've raced Baja
I love
before,
Ron
right?
Miller.
What's that?
You've raced Baja before, right?
Yeah, I have.
So what kind of comparisons can you draw between the desert portion of Hammers and Baja?
So what I like about Baja is you could go 100 miles and it's the roughest terrain of your life. And then you get to a border of like another town and you start a new section and it could look completely different. It could be filled with cactus, and then you go another 100 miles and it's just ocean views, and then another 100 miles and it's like pebble rock, just annoying wash areas. Baja is so different all over the board. And it's absolutely amazing. If you've never gone down there to see or just pre-run part of it, I highly recommend it. But, it has its comparisons to King of the Hammers in some areas, but I'd say they're completely different.
I've obviously never been, but since it's Mexico, I'm assuming they don't fill in that dirt once the race is over, right? That course is kind of the same all the time.
I believe so. I don't think it's ever maintained.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
you hardly ever run the same course. There's a few trails that you run consistently, but then they kind of traipse through and do different. So it was weird as this year they did it backwards. So you started out at the southern and you ended up at the northern.
Yeah.
And then some have gone down the Pacific coast and then not really touched so much on the Baja coast. And then you have other ones that shoot you straight across to San Felipe and then back across and then crisscross, and you crisscross across through the desert. So it's ever changing in what they do with Baja. And that's kind of the beauty of Baja. And then you get past San Felipe and you're sitting in silt beds for just sucks. Silt beds suck.
Yeah.
Are there any other dirt races that you might be attracted to, like Rally or Dakar? Something that's just totally crazy and not even, she's just running.
I would definitely like to try some rally type things, like more of what Travis Pastrana's doing, the Nitro Cross. Because I don't really have that much experience in the short course type side of it, I'd love to get my hands on that. I think it would be something totally different and outside the box. So,
do you even own a sedan or coupe kind of car like that?
No.
Wait.
Nope.
Wait, aren't you guys building a Mustang?
So we built a Mach-E rally car for the Rebel Rally. And that event isn't so much rally type fast anything. It's all about your navigational skills. So you're in the middle of nowhere for 7 days, traveling from northern Nevada to southern California to Glamis Dunes. And it's all by navigation. You're not allowed to have phone, GPS. It's all camping. And that's completely different. But those cars are currently being used for F1 drivers to play around in. So it's pretty cool to see what you've built in the shop now handed over to a couple of F1 drivers who are just kind of making that thing to do whatever they want. So,
are you a fan of F1 at all?
I've never really gotten into it, so I don't know that much about it.
So my wife works for Haggerty Insurance.
Okay.
They used to have watch parties before COVID. So she started working for the events side of it part-time while she was also working full-time on the inside. I think she was at the time an associate or something. Anyways, she got into it around 2013. She would go to these events and come home and say, "You've got to check this out. This is amazing. This driving is crazy." And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. And the next year she's like, "You really need to check this out." So 2014 is when I got into it, and I've been hooked ever since. Recently the racing has been more one-sided. Max Verstappen has just been dominating. But if you know where to watch within the race, there is some awesome overtaking happening all the time. And they're doing it at 150 miles an hour. It's just crazy.
Okay.
Oh, she wants a hug.
Don't let her fool you. She's a love bug, but. You ready in your bike?
She's trying to get her camera time. It's okay, Amber. You can come get some camera time, Amber. It's all right. So what about this Fox body Mustang that you guys are building?
Yes, the Fox body. So Brian calls it mine, but it's his. Okay. He's having so much fun with it. He found it in New York, and it has I think it was 36,000 original miles on it. The guy, yeah, it's a really clean car. There's no rust on it. The undercoating's still on the bottom of the frame. It's super nice. All the interior is super clean. This guy had it parked in his garage, and we're the third owners of it now that's ever had it. And he was just ready for it to go to a new home. So Brian flew all the way to New York to look at it, had a semi ready to pick it up if he liked it. And it ended up going really well. And we're going to use it for the American Road Tour coming up at the end of September. And then I think we start in Connecticut and we travel down to the Keys.
Wow.
So we're gonna
that's a fun trip.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So tell us about the build. What exactly is going on with it? What's going in it?
So you should see our garage. He has that thing scattered everywhere. He pulled, so the people that did own it put a couple upgrades to it. So he's currently taking out the fuel cell. What else is he doing? We've put a whole Willwood disc upgrade on it. So a whole new brake setup, and it's going to have a Curry rear end housing. Oh, he has a list, and I feel like it changes every day. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with it right now, but I know he has things ordered, and I don't know if they're going to stay. So you guys will just have to stay tuned on what he's doing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
See, so Brian and I have the same thing in common. We order stuff and then realize that that's not the stuff we really want. We're going to order more stuff. Let's make this work.
Yes. I went out there the other day. Oh, what was that?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I went out there the other day, and so he's putting this new fuel cell in it, and he decides that he's going to yank on a wire that's leading up underneath the carpet of the driver's side. And I'm like, okay, sure, you want to pull on that? Because he's trying to figure out where it's going. Well, it's the fuel pressure sender going underneath and under the radio area, and then up to the ECM. And he pulled on it and ripped it out, and he was in the garage probably for about 3 hours trying to fix it. So it's been a real entertaining project.
How many parts in the garage are still unwrapped? That this is the plan for this, and there's
a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, so he also has a C10 project going on, and we're waiting for the chassis. It's going to be here this weekend, and I can't wait for all the boxes to be gone because we can just start putting things on the chassis finally and getting the body done. And I'm so excited.
So the C10's back home too.
It's going to be here this weekend, yeah.
Is the tub there, or is it still at the body shop?
So yeah, the tub's at the body shop down the road.
Okay.
Cassie will be here this weekend, so we can actually get the tub on it and start mounting everything, and then it can finally go to paint, and then we can start wiring. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to use that one to do some autocross with. So we're actually going to get into that kind of stuff and see how that goes. So something outside of off-road.
There's an autocross track being built literally just a few miles from my place here in Tennessee, next to Armando's favorite distillery, actually. It's going to be called Tennessee Downs. It's literally, they just broke ground, I would say 4 months ago.
That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of series are going to be held there?
I don't.
Is it pretty brand new?
So it's very brand new. I don't have too much information on it. They post very, very little information on their Facebook page. They're just barely, they want to trickle out information, I think, just as a tease, just to build the excitement. But since that's been being built, I've been thinking about, buying a car myself so I can race it. But it's so much cheaper just to have this race simulator behind me, and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, there's no gas, there's no crashes, there's no tires, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. The only upside
cheaper.
is my wife works for the insurance company and she's the underwriter, so probably get cheap insurance that way.
Well, sounds like you should buy a car then. That would just seal the deal for me.
I used to illegal street race when I lived in LA. That's the extent of my racing. And my last race, I crashed head on into a telephone pole.
Oh.
And,
yeah. So Gabe needs to be in a simulator.
Yeah.
100% a simulator guy.
I was an idiot. So we were on a residential street. We were racing side by side, and there's cars parked on the curb. So there's literally no space at all for error. And we came across a drainage ditch for runoff. And I must have been in fourth gear, and I just downshifted right away down to second. And I hit the brakes at the same time, and everything just locked up. My steering wheel even locked up, and I just skidded. The skid marks were like a good 30 feet. And I went straight head on into the telephone pole, was not wearing a seatbelt. My head hit the windshield, and I had a big old knot on my forehead for like weeks. And that was my lesson. Wear a seatbelt from now on, no matter what.
Or race a simulator. Drive a Tacoma and race a simulator.
Yeah. And I don't know how the cop bought my story. I mean, all they had to do was measure the skid marks. I just told them that someone ran the red light, and I had hit the brakes.
Really?
But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's even the neighbors were coming out like, "Oh my God, all this engine noise going on." My friend had just bought one of the first Sebring, the Chrysler Sebring that came out. This was in 90. Oh my goodness, 97, around there, 1997. And it went straight from the dealership to Motorworks place. He beefed up the engine, everything. It was pretty fast. And I was like, yeah, right, it's not fast, I'll race you. And at the time I had it was a small single cab Toyota truck, 22 RE 4-cylinder, and I had built that motor up. So it was really quick. And we were just idiots at the time, young punks, young kids. And we're like, fuck it, let's just race it on this street. And that's what we did. And it was just bad news. It was not a good idea.
Simulator.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep giving a simulator.
So one thing that I've always asked people that are in the industry, is where do you see the electronic vehicle coming into play in the near future? Do you see any class for that for Ultra 4?
So Ultra 4 was starting to do some things with an electric motor. Excuse me, I don't remember the name of the company off the top of my head, but we were given one to start an EV car. And just because they were only supposed to last 45 minutes. So Ultra 4 was going to have to make a track that would accommodate these cars with electric motors that would only last for 45 minutes and basically put on a show for that long and be able to make it around a track. But they wanted them to put down some real torque, have the right amount of horsepower, but still be capable of doing exactly what our Ultra 4 cars do now. So they were going to start doing something with that. It has kind of been set to the side. Dave did build a rock crawler with one in it, and it's been going well. It's been going well through testing and whatnot. But I think it's going to probably be another year or two before we really get into it.
What are the biggest challenges with torque conversion in the rocks with the EV?
Honestly, I have no clue. I need to be more part of that testing. I can't answer that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest detriment right now is battery life. Is you can't race a race like King of the Hammers or even some of the other races on 45 minutes. So there was talks of a quick change cassette option for some of the cars where you come into the pit, and the pit would have just cassettes, and the cassette would kind of go and you'd slide out onto a cart, and then the new one would slide in, and then that would be your battery change to allow you to go longer. But I don't believe that we've ever seen anything happen. There was 5 or 10 people that got those electric motors a few years back, and nothing really came from any of those happening. There's one guy there is an electric vehicle class at King of the Hammers. There's one guy that has, I guess it was a Tesla employee, Tesla engineer, and he engineered a motor in a Toyota truck or something.
Yeah. So I want to say it was the guy that was helping Dave set up course for a few years. His name, I think they called him Chicago, but his real name's Kyle. And I think that was his project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he raced the Toyota truck, but I think he had battery issues, and it comes down to the battery. The batteries don't like to be jostled around. They don't like to be beaten up like that. So the shock and what you're going to see in this type of racing will be very hard to be able to manipulate. Street racing or autocross racing or circle track type racing would definitely benefit from the electric.
Yeah.
So you did Rebel Rally in the Mach E, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's actually what I was just going to say. So the Mach E Ford Mustang that I got to put in the dirt, as they would say, it was all electric. So it was really cool. I got to go out and test it in Johnson Valley for the first time to make sure that we wanted to put this thing in the Rebel Rally, because the rally does actually go through some crazy terrain. Like, we built a full-on skid plate for that car, a spare tire rack in the back, and we had to make sure it was going to be capable of even making it through this rally without getting a puncture through the battery underneath, because we go through some crazy stuff. But the worst battery life that thing had was in the Glamis Dunes, and it was the softest that we'd ever seen the dunes just because of all the rain. So the range went way down there. We were getting, I want to say, what was it? I have to go back and look, but like through Johnson Valley, we ended up running out of battery range because we didn't accommodate for the distance that we would be going in order to get our checkpoints that day. So we actually had to stop and end our day early in order to make it to a base camp later on. So it's hard working with an EV car because we don't quite understand them yet without enough testing. So putting the Mach-E Rally in was a really cool test for Ford themselves to see what the car was capable of doing, not just for fire road rally racing, but for also off-road type.
It'll get there, I think. It just has to be.
Yeah.
It just has to be funded by Elon, I think, and
Well,
he needs to come out to Johnson Valley for a week and check it out. And I think someone like that would understand.
Well, Ford's put a lot of energy and money into this this side, and I think you'll see a lot more. I haven't heard any rumblings of it yet, but I have a feeling there's going to be electric Bronco coming.
I haven't heard anything either. So.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, but I can assure you that we'll probably see an electric Bronco because electric Jeeps are coming. So it has to come. They have to figure out a way to make it work, and we'll see. But battery issues.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah. I got to meet a lot of people that were a part of the Mach-E project, and they're very passionate about it.
So it's not going to take too long then. Ford seems to be a company that, how can I put this? If they want to get it done, they're going to do it. I mean, obviously they invented the assembly line a long time ago, so they've innovated quite a lot of things. I can definitely see them being the first one to come up with it. So it'll be fun.
Definitely we'll see a big stuff happening. Ford's doing a lot with the motorsports. You just did something with the Ford racing with the Broncos down in Baja, right?
Yep. We raced the Bronco down in Baja, and that was a very cool experience. It's a full stock Bronco, and we ended up winning our class. As well as the Raptor R. The Raptor R also won its class down there. So
the Braptor?
Mm-hmm. No, not the Braptor.
No, not the Bronco Raptor. The Raptor. The Raptor.
The Raptor. Yeah.
The Raptor, not the Bronco Raptor. Yeah.
How much does the car change for you from, let's say, Johnson Valley to Baja? Like what changes are the biggest that are done?
Well, for me, we have specific vehicles that we would take to Baja, and then we also have specific vehicles that would race King of the Hammers. So like for Baja, we have what is called a Class 1 car. It's not currently legal anymore in the Class 1 because it has a solid rear axle, which Class 1s are supposed to have independent suspension in the rears, but they have ruled that out now. So it's only legal in the Hammer truck class down there, as well as Best in the Desert. But our Class 1 is very similar to our 4400 cars. It just has a bigger shock upgrade, same motor. It's just a very big car. So it's swallowing up more of the terrain.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see that sometime. Armando, you got to take me.
Yeah, come out. It's shop's about 30 minutes from my house. 35 minutes. Yeah, 35 minutes from my house.
And then we got a party in Mexico. I need a passport first, but yeah, and then we're gonna have to do that.
Well, hurry up. Let's go. I'm ready to go now.
Everybody has to go at least once. Like you just have to experience it.
Yeah, I grew up racing Baja. That was like my first introduction to any sort of racing. My name's on a trophy somewhere for a Baja 500. We used to do the Gran Carrera races. It was a series that was in San Felipe, Tecate, and Ensenada. And I raced down there. So I was down there all the time when I was like 19 to 22. I was down there like 5-6 times a year, if not more. And it was great. The terrain in Baja, the stuff you see in Baja, going down and experiencing the whole difference of what people see and what people do, the fans are different too out there. I mean, it's like it's ridiculous just being out there, and I haven't even been there for 20 plus years, and I can imagine what it's like now.
Yeah, one of these days I'll go. Like I said, I need a passport first. I can't believe I haven't gotten one. It's just laziness.
Yeah. Get up and go somewhere. Come on.
Yeah, I'll go
go.
out and do more trails in the U.S., and you need to go down to Mexico.
Yeah. You get a passport.
Has Ultra 4 evolved to the point now where there are rivalries amongst teams, or is it still very friendly?
I'd like to think it's still pretty friendly. I know there's a couple teams that have tremendously grown and have a really good following and like to think they're the face of the sport. But I feel like that just leads to big heads, and it just I like to see the family side of it, so that's what I try to focus on.
Speaking of family, what's your favorite part about being a mom?
She keeps me on my toes, you know. She always makes me feel loved, and I just love the cuddles, and that's probably my favorite thing.
That's awesome. Armando, what's your favorite part about being a mom?
Not being a mom.
Well, as far as your team, is there a lot of friendly rivalry, or is it very much still very supportive no matter what on the track?
It's always been supportive. We always mess with each other, like, I got this race, you know. This is my race. Short course is my thing. Desert's my thing. But then we get on the actual course, you know, and we're all on the same radio channels, and we're constantly just making sure we're actually all going still and making it to the finish line. So it's never a hard competition, you know. Mm-hmm. It's always fun.
I think it would be cool if somehow Ultra 4 was able to televise the races and include the comms with teams. So there would be an option.
We don't want that. No.
I'm for it in certain situations, and then like KOH, absolutely not.
Is that because of strategy, or is that just because of the cussing going on?
The cussing, yeah. There's cussing. There's.
It would just be bleep, just bleep, just
the whole time.
Just bleep. Yeah, no.
I hate to admit it, but you're just so in the zone, you don't even like catch what you're saying out loud.
I get it.
But I think Ultra 4's definitely come a long way with trying to put footage in the car while the race is going on.
Yeah. This year's coverage was great.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see that change, and I think there's been times where I've been back home and like texting your mom like, what's happening? There's nothing happening. I can't see anything. What are they doing? Everyone's fine. Everyone's good. So.
Do you read internet comments after races?
I'm coming right
now. Sometimes I don't really scroll through them that much. Like if somebody's saying something nice, I'll respond, but I don't get into the heated arguments and whatnot on social media or anything like that.
There was one year, I can't remember the year. I believe you were in the single seater, and you got out to change. I think it was ball joint. And
that was my solid axle car.
Okay. And there was people just for whatever reason, like just talking shit. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, you're at home watching this, and this woman is out here doing this. Why are you talking shit? What in the fuck is going on?
I do remember that. Because I specifically remember a video that was posted of me tripping over a pit mat while I was trying to run for a tool. that ate me up for a while because I was like, oh my God, I look like such an idiot tripping over a pit mat. But I got the right tool.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yep.
I try to ignore that stuff. It's just not worth it to me. So
yeah, I struggle with it. I read the comments sometimes, and I just want to not be super political about it and just tell people how I feel. Lately, I've been a lot better at it. Armando tries to temper me sometimes and tells me that I need to chill and I shouldn't talk about certain things.
Some stuff we just have to let go.
I've let go.
There's a time to speak and there's a time to let it go, and it's just like, okay, let ebb and flow. Just let it go. Just like
I've let go. It's just sometimes it's funny to bring it back up.
Yeah. So, all right. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know. I need to go.
Okay.
I gotta go.
All right, we'll wrap it up.
Unfortunately.
Bailey, thank you for
Thanks,
joining
Bailey.
us. It's been a great
thank
conversation.
You guys.
And hopefully we've haven't deterred you from joining us in the future again.
No, anytime. We can bring up new other conversations and talk about other things. I'm all for it.
All right, perfect. All right, guys. Thanks, Bailey. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.